Are we live? Are we live? Welcome to the Walla Way, Coach Imran Nalawala, and I'm here joined by my co-host Ahmed Mutawa. Ahmed, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Like, sound good. Another online session
Another one. Part two.
from the televised studio, huh?
Yes, sir.
So I know a lot of happenings have been happening in the world of basketball in round two. Some shifting in the terms of some teams that started off hot have cooled down a little bit. Couple surprises, and obviously we had the NBA lottery order that was that the selection order was done over the weekend, so we kind of have an idea of who's picking where, even though it's a weaker draft. So some things to talk about, man. Where do you want to start?
I think the draft's a good place to start.
Okay, talk to me, man. So let's do
Uh,
one thing. Yeah, I can pull up the draft order too.
okay.
So go ahead. You can talk.
Oh, it's just gonna be interesting to see like where like certain teams are gonna go with their draft. Like Atlanta's been having talks about like blowing it all up and resetting, or are they gonna trade that first pick to keep Trey Young, or they're gonna trade Dejounte with that first pick to get a superstar, or I don't know. There's a lot of places they could go. San Antonio, they're in a good spot, 4 and 8. So that's gonna be a fun spot to see what they can do if they're just gonna try to build a young core or try to bring in a superstar.
It's interesting, man. With the Hawks getting the first pick, just as you mentioned, the fact that they've talked about trading Trey Young and Dejounte Murray, this spices things up a little bit, right? Because you got the number one pick. Even though the draft is weak, if you make the right pick, you can still get an impactful player, right, for your team.
Sure.
So I was talking to a friend the other day. The Clippers are in a precarious situation as well. Harden is a free agent. Paul George is a free agent. Kawhi is obviously sticking around, but they have an older, injury-prone veteran team. Do you want to maybe perhaps try to put a package together for someone like a Trey Young? Do you want to bring some of that youthful magic to your team? Uh, there's a lot of options, right? And the Rockets, they got some young pieces. They're number three, so they have the potential of adding another young piece onto the team. And then you mentioned the Spurs. The Spurs are 4-8. Very happy for them, but I'm also a little disappointed. Their odds were statistically much higher if they had lost that last game of the season, and they
Yeah.
could have got a much better pick. So, but nonetheless, man, they're in a great position. They got two lottery picks. They can package them up. Like for example, the Suns. The Suns have literally nothing going for them, right? They have no draft picks until 2032 or whatever it is. They have all their cap space eaten by a couple of guys. I don't know. Does it seem tempting for someone like the Spurs to trade the fourth and the eighth pick along with some assets and try to get a Devin Booker? I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I heard that Devin Booker. There's been rumors that he was going to be available. There's rumors like that every summer where there's a superstar is going to be available. Something tells me he's not going to be gone. Something tells me more likely KD will be gone. But even KD, if you were to trade those two picks for KD, as good as Hall of Fame all time great player KD is, KD's in his 17th year, 16th year?
Yeah, he's old.
Yeah, he doesn't play old, but he's old. So I don't know if he can warrant two lottery picks. I don't know. So it'll be interesting.
I think it all comes down to, man, like what you value these picks at, right? What do you think the future holds for these individuals that you might draft? There's some decent international prospects. There's a couple local guys. I know at the number four spot, I forgot the guy's name because I don't watch college like you do, but there's this like all-time shooter that they're expecting to draft. He's a white kid. I guess he shoots the heck out of the ball, so the potentially the Spurs are looking at him. Ring a bell?
Reed Shepard.
Maybe. I don't know.
I
I
like
was
I
reading
like
something.
other I like for the Spurs if they can get Rob Dillingham at 4, that would be very ideal. That'd be very ideal. I feel like Wemby needs like a ball down, not ball down, but he could get his own bucket. He can
Mm.
come up. He reminds me like a Jordan Clarkson, Jordan Poole type of player. But you see that kind of style kind of over these last 2 3 years kind of fade a little bit
Mm.
after people saw like and like when Jordan Poole wasn't hiding on the bench of the Warriors and he wasn't really getting the game plan forced to him. Yeah, he could score 20. But yeah, now that he's in Washington, he's the game plan. And he had a struggling year. Jordan Clarkson doesn't play enough defense. Neither of them play enough defense. So I don't know. It's
But here's
kind
the
of a that you have to take.
Yeah, but if you're now the other side to that is if you're not high on any of these picks and you're trying to shift into win now mode, like you got a 2 year window to whatever, right? And they want to make some acquisitions in the offseason, they want to do some signing trades, pick up some free agents, then it makes sense. If you could make a big three and Kevin Durant is the third option of the big three, it could work, right? I'm saying hypothetically, right? But again, he wouldn't be my first target. I would like to get a guy like Devin Booker
Yeah.
and pair him with someone like D Book. That would be the first option. But again, the great thing is the Spurs have options. That's the most important thing. They got a couple good draft picks. They got some cap space. They got some youthful talent. And there's the rumblings around the league where players want to play with Wemby, so that's always going to be in their favor. But it's going to be really interesting to see what Atlanta does, knowing that they want to ship Trey Young and possibly DeJounte Murray to other teams. So now that you get that number one pick, that gives you a lot of flexibility and freedom. And if you get the right packages for Trey Young and DeJounte Murray, they might move both of them, or possibly keep one and move the other. So we'll see.
So you as a Spurs fan, would you rather the Spurs give up a lot more for Devin Booker or give up less for Trae Young? Let me just put a scenario out. For Devin Booker, just say it goes Vassell, Socan, and those two picks, and another cap fillers and whatever, and you get Devin Booker. But for Trae Young, you just got to give up your 8th pick and you give up Kelvin Johnson.
Yeah, then I would probably shoot for Trey Young because you still get to keep Vassell, you still get to keep Sohan, but truthfully, I don't think that's what it would take to get Young. I think it will take much more than that for them to acquire Young. That's just my
You
opinion.
think?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no way they're gonna just
I'm
get.
a big Trae Young guy. But I saw a stat the other day where he's a top 1 percentile offensive player, but he's also bottom 1% defender. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's gonna be the biggest issue, right? That's why I would take a Booker over a Trey Young because with Trey Young, he's small, he's thin, he gives you so much on the offensive side, but he'll get so abused and beat up on defense. Now where that can be erased a little bit is the Wemby factor, right? Because Wemby's so long and he can cover a lot of ground. If you hide Trey Young defensively, put him in corners and play a zone and things like this, it might work out. But
yeah.
like I said, man, I'm just happy they have options. I'm really happy with the fact that they have options. I want to see what they do this offseason.
Yeah.
I want
The
to see who
Spurs are
they can
definitely going
have.
to shake up this summer. They're going to be a team that they're my number one focus this summer.
Yeah, same. Yeah, man. Yeah. So
That'll be fun.
let's see what they do. But moving on to some of the games, man. I know it looked like people had written off the Nuggets, and it seems like the Nuggets have reclaimed their status as NBA champions in the sense of they came back as the defending champs, and
Yeah.
they kind of stuck it to the guys. And I saw like a lack of energy from the Timberwolves. It was very very interesting to see the shift.
Yeah. My I always grew up with the saying that you're champs until you're not.
Mm,
So
mm.
the Nuggets are always until they lose 4 straight games to the Timberwolves, you still got to give them their respect. They're still one of the
Mm.
best teams in the league. They still have one of the best players in the league. Still got one of the best shooters in the league, best clutch player in the league. You still got to respect them, even though if they fall 2-0. Again, we always, subhanAllah, every time we talk, it kind of always reverts back to it. When you have an all-time great player, a series, a game, a quarter, a possession is never over as long as you got an all-time great player on your team.
I mean, Jokic showed his value, man. Jokic, the moves, the
Yeah.
poise, the effectiveness. Murray's had a little bit of a breakthrough because he struggled for the first couple games. The role players are doing a much better job. The ball movement has been much better, and they've been able to utilize the other guys, especially Gordon, better. So it's going to be interesting, man. I personally thought, and again, these are just the little things that we think when we watch basketball, that whoever wins Game 4 is probably going to win the series because I expected Minnesota to come out with much more knowing that they had won 2 games and then they lost 1 game, and in a convincing manner. But the other thing that I think about is Spurs Pistons 2005 championship, where the Spurs blew out the Pistons the first 2 games, and then the Pistons blew out the Spurs the next two games. And it's like, what the heck is going to happen in this series? Because it was like two dominant games followed by two dominant games followed by the other team, and then it was 1-1-1. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting
Yeah.
to see what happens.
When we don't have to take it back that long ago, we can go. What's it called? But that was kind of the home courts were flipped when the Mavericks played the Suns in the second round. They just kept taking turns blowing each other out on their home court. So like Phoenix blew us out twice, we blew them out twice. We just kept taking turns blowing each other out.
So your thoughts on the series, where it's going to finish?
What did we pick? I don't want to be a bandwagon.
We said Nuggets. No, we said Nuggets.
We said Nuggets?
Yeah.
Again, like I said, they're chance until they're not. So I'm gonna rock with them.
Okay, and then for the Mavericks, we said Mavericks in 6. I'm disappointed with how they executed down the stretch yesterday, because they could have taken such a nice 3-1 lead. You got all, and everyone's like, Luka's banged up, but you're still playing so effectively, and they really lost that game in the last few minutes, man.
Man, I didn't want to listen to First Take. I didn't want to listen to Undisputed. I was so pissed today. The whole day I was so mad. The whole game. You're up 10. You're dominating them the whole game. You can't hit a free throw. You go 1 for 2, 0 for 1, 0 for 2, 1 for 2, 1 for 2. You can't. You shoot 50%, and OKC shoots 90-some% from the line. You're gonna lose a lot of basketball games if you can't hit a free throw. You're stopping the clock for them to come back, and they're also scoring, and you're also not scoring when the clock is stopped.
What was happening with the free throws, man? Like the whole team.
I don't know, bro.
The whole team. Not just one. Luke, and I told my friend was here. I'm like, I'm telling you, Luke is gonna miss his free throw. Clanked. I was like, come on. I'm like, what is going on?
I think I was counting the whole game. I think we went 2 for 2 one time. I think Derrick Jones went 2 for 2 one time. That was the only time throughout the whole game we went 2 for 2. It was embarrassing. But on the bright side, that's what we picked, was Mavs in 6. So hopefully we could win these next 2. But honestly, I can't stand watching the Thunder. I just hope we could just kill them in 5. I just can't stand watching those dudes, man. I hate it.
Interesting.
I hate it. And they probably say the same thing about us because they think Luke is flopping, and he does have his little Vlade Divac in him, but but he's my Vlade.
Yeah, no, Luka's banged up, man. I feel like if Luka was not banged up, this probably be over much quicker than we expected, because I don't know how they're staying in these games and how they're actually winning the games, right? And you see other guys are hitting big shots, even the bigs, as we expected. The bigs are coming up big, and rim running and protecting the rim and getting some nice putbacks, etc. So
I turned to my dad and during the game, I was like, this is the first team Luka doesn't have to be Superman for them to win a playoff game. So if Luka can get any form, some vibranium, some crazy medicine to put in his knee, it can get ugly, and there'll be real threats in the West, but I don't know how healthy. He looked pretty springy to start the game, though, to be honest, but I think throughout the game, it kind of, the adrenaline began to wear off. But I don't know. We'll see.
yeah, but let's stick to our initial picks, and we'll say them in 6, maybe even 7. Boston and Cleveland, what a disappointment. All the negative stereotypes that exist about Boston are coming true. They lost one game. They should not have even lost that game. Excuse me. The Cavaliers do not have enough talent. Should not have enough talent to match up against these guys. And the fact that yesterday's game was close for so many portions of the game without Donovan Mitchell, it's really sad, man. It's like, this is what the MO of the Celtics is. And they have such an easy path to the NBA Finals, right? Which brings them more legitimacy, because people say, oh, but they played in the finals. But in reality, I don't think that they're a top-tier team. Respectfully.
For sure. I definitely agree. Like, when you look at their path, it's not nearly as difficult as if, for, say, the Mavericks go to the conference finals. It's nowhere near as hard. And Denver. Denver going to have a battle if they get to the conference finals.
Oh, man.
But, like, I want to go back to talk about Cleveland for a bit.
Yeah.
I feel like they're in a real, like, weird predicament right now. Because you saw with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, I think you know where I'm about to go with this. You see them together
Yeah.
on the court. Darius Garland is very hesitant, not confident, he doesn't want to look for his own shot. Probably averaging 15 points in the playoffs without Donovan Mitchell. In one game he goes out, he drops 30. Where are they going to go from this year? Because I know there's a lot of the talks about, again, when we go back to the trade talk, Donovan Mitchell being moved. So I don't know where they go. Do they move Donovan Mitchell and get Darius Garland some wing players? Do they move Darius Garland and get Donovan Mitchell a guard? Like a different style of guard? But I don't know where they're going to go. It's interesting.
Let me
It's
see
eye-opening.
I want to see how old Donovan is.
Donovan can't be older than 27.
I think he's probably 28, 29. Let's see. He's 27. Great. Yeah. I mean, I hate to keep taking it back to the Spurs, man. But if they're going to put a package together, I might look at trying to acquire someone like him. I'm serious.
I think I'd like Donovan Mitchell. I mean, I don't know. Again, it comes back to what do you have to give up to get that player? And then you kind of have to look at their talent. Is it worth it? Is it not? Long term, short term, age, not age, old, young. So,
what's your gripes with Mitchell, man? Like, I mean, like, do you feel like he wouldn't be a good fit?
No, he'd be a great fit. He'd be a great
But
fit.
it's about what you have to give up, huh?
Price. He went for 3 first. Well, can you look up the deal that got him to Cleveland? Because that was a monster deal looking back on it. It was Markkanen, Ogabaji, and I think one more player and 3 first-round picks, I believe.
Looking right now, brother. Here.
It was basically 4 first-round picks because Ogabashi never even played a game for the Cavs.
Wow.
He was a first-round pick.
The Cavaliers received Mitchell, and what the Cavs gave up was Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Ochi, like you said, a 2025 first-round pick, a 2026 pick swap, a 2027 first-round pick, a 2028 pick swap, and a 2029 first-round pick.
So 3 first-round picks, 2 pick swaps, a solid starting to 6-man point guard, young
and a stretch.
Young all-star stretch big.
Yeah.
And a young player that you just drafted in the first round.
But again, this is now this would be a couple years after.
He's a little older.
Yeah.
He's also more proven.
Yeah.
His game's more refined. So, I don't know.
Let me see.
Yeah, the scouts value his game.
Let me see his stat line. His yearly stats. Let me see if I can. This is not the right breakdown. Career stats. So this year in 35 minutes a game, that's not bad. 35 minutes, 12, 24, 36. So he's playing a little under 3 quarters a game. 26 points at 46% shooting. He shoots 36.8 from the 3. He gives you 5 rebounds and 6 assists and 1.8 steal. So honestly, not bad, man. Last year he scored even more. He scored 28.3 a game. And he shot a higher percentage from the 3 and the field, but he had less assists and less rebound. So his career, he's at 24 points a game, 4.3 rebounds, 4.6 assists, and 1.4 steals. Interesting.
I think I'm gonna take back what I just said. I think Trae Young would be a better fit than Donovan Mitchell.
Why do you say that?
You still as a Trae Young will probably be the better player because I think you still want 1B to be your best player, your core player, your superstar player. And I think Trae Young grants him more opportunities to have the ball than Donovan Mitchell does, just because he's a much better passer. And they're both. It's not like Donovan Mitchell is Dwayne Wade on defense or Chris Paul.
So Trae got 25.7 points a game this season. He actually shot worse from the field, and I think worse from the 3 as well, which is interesting. So that means he's taking more shots than Donovan to get essentially same production. He gets less rebounds. But he gets 10 point. He's averaged 10.8 assists.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Better assist, less efficient scoring.
Kind of pick your poison.
Yeah, interesting.
Because I like what's the one on the Spurs? Is it Tyus or is it Trey Jones?
Trey
Jones. I like Trey Jones. I think he's a solid point guard. He's not Trae Young or anything, but
yeah, he averaged 10 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 6 assists, which is pretty interesting. 6 assists in 27 minutes.
that's solid.
So the Spurs are gonna have some decisions to make, man. The Spurs are gonna have some decisions to make. They're gonna have to make some decisions, man. So honestly, it's gonna be interesting to see what they decide to do, because I'm not sure what they're gonna do. I'm sure there's gonna be some type of surprise. But let me see, like, notable NBA free agents 2024. Let's look at this list.
Things like Paul George, James Harden.
No, thank you. No, thank you. So we got Pascal Siakam.
Siakam's going back.
Yeah. We got Miles Bridges.
Nah.
We got Tobias Harris. No.
Tobias Harris took a match and lit his pocket on fire with that game.
He ain't gonna get this. What he's
That's for sure.
What do you think about Obi Toppin?
I was talking to my friends about it. I think he's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Like a good rotational wing / smaller, big, athletic. He reminds me of Derrick Jones on the Mavericks.
Yep.
Athletic, catch lobs, play defense. He's not a player I'll throw a bag at, but you get him for a good deal. I would.
Tobias Harris over me? Give me 1 second. Jimmy's rolling in his grave somewhere.
And B's rolling somewhere.
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
I got these crazy ads. I don't know what these ads are. So Kyle, what do you think about Kyle Anderson?
Didn't he used to play on the Spurs?
Yeah. He was on the. He started off on the Spurs. Slow-mo.
He's cool. Nothing crazy.
Patrick Williams, I say not.
Nah.
Kevin Love? No.
No.
Torian Prince, probably not. Nicholas Batum, no. I don't even know how long he's been in the league, man. Jeff Green, no. Jay Crowder, no. Jay Crowder was on the Spurs. That did not work out. Would you take Bobo?
Twin Towers?
Yeah.
That would be funny.
Marcus Morris, no thank you. David Bertans already played for the Spurs, so that's not going to happen again. Gallinari, not going to happen again. So no, there's not much, man. I didn't even know Thaddeus was still in the league.
What's this list?
Free agents.
Just free agents?
This summer.
Are you sure? This feels like a free agents over 35 list.
NBA
2024 power forward.
Free agents. Oh my God. I ain't trying to look at no freaking power forwards. Come on. NBA free. Okay, I picked the wrong one.
I know Paul George is a free agent.
Yeah, I definitely did not pick the right one. Top players available this summer. Give me 1 second, man. Let me just check my phone. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Tobias Harris over me? Jimmy Butler's at my house. So Tyrese Maxey, I don't know, man. What do you think about that?
He won't be available.
Is he restricted?
Yeah, he's for sure restricted.
Paul George, I'm not interested, to be honest.
You're not Paul George guy? I don't know. You told me you're not Paul George guy.
Yeah. I know people get surprised. LeBron James, honestly, I wouldn't mind, man. I'd pick up LeBron depending on how much he wants. I'll bring him to the Spurs. We already said Siakam's not gonna come. What about OG?
That's a good fit.
Yeah.
Again, what do you think his price tag would be at this summer?
He's definitely gonna ask for more money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's had a nice run in New York. That's gonna automatically inflate his value.
I think at least be 22, 23.
Yeah. When guys do good in Indiana, in New York, It's not a good sign, brother. James
Hey,
Harden, I'm gonna say no.
hold on that.
And James,
Yeah, come on.
okay.
I'm not a big
Yeah.
James Harden guy, but like he knows how to get his teammates involved when he feels like it.
The problem is, man, he doesn't play defense. I know he tried to play better defense this season. He's also aging. His production obviously has gone down significantly. I don't know how much of a pay cut he's going to be willing to take. And look at what it says right here, which is his knock. Probably won't ever be a huge playoff performer, right? So I don't know, man. It depends on how much he costs. If he's affordable and you can get it for a decent rate, maybe yeah. To have a consistent scorer, a guy who can knock down the outside shot, a guy who can get into the lane. But remember, if he's your point guard or he's your guy who's gonna like slow the tempo down, it's gonna slow the tempo down. It's gonna a ball movement is probably not gonna be great, even though he averages a decent amount of assists. The ball's gonna stick. It's gonna be a lot of pop, 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 drive and pass. Right? The ball's probably not gonna swing around much. Um,
You know.
my opinion. Thoughts? You could jump in at any point.
No, I feel you. I feel that perspective, but I don't know. I've seen James Harden make a lot of players better than what they were.
I personally wouldn't mind bringing DeRozan back, depending on what the deal was, man.
I don't know. I feel like DeRozan's like an expiring breed.
He's definitely expiring, but 24 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. I wouldn't pay him anywhere near what he's getting now. But the fact that his game has aged so well, he's still producing. Um, Similar to James Harden in the sense that the ball's probably going to stick when it gets to him because that's his game. But I don't know. Depending on how much it costs, he's also very familiar with the San Antonio Spurs system. So I don't know. We already talked about Miles Bridges. What do you think about Malik Monk?
That'd be a great one.
Yeah, he's only making 10 million this year too, less
That'd be
than
a
10
good
million.
one.
I like
Hey, and hear
Malik.
me, hear me out on this one. I think I might have
Yeah.
brought it up to you. I like on one of our earlier episodes. I think if you could get Lonzo Ball, knowing that the Spurs have a great medical program, great medical team, his play style is perfect for what you want Wemby to be.
Mm.
I think that'd be
Say
a
say
cool
that
fit.
say that whole thing again because someone was trying to call me and it completely blasted what you said.
Oh, I said a great fit would be
Mm.
Lonzo.
Mm. You
I
think
think Lon,
so?
yeah, I think Lonzo's if because again I said because the Spurs have a great medical team, they can get him right. You don't have to rush it. You get him for the cheap because he hasn't played in a long time. Can you even be traded when you're injured?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think maybe if the team signs a waiver,
Yeah.
can injured players be traded NBA? Despite existing in the game, the rule doesn't exist in the real NBA. Players involved in a trade generally must pass physical examination. So,
Okay.
yeah. So Malik Monk, I like. Tobias, we said no. D'Angelo, probably not. What about Emmanuel quickly?
Um,
He's
I
not
don't know.
bro.
I think you could get a younger. I
He
think you could
averaged
get a younger version. Say what? So what?
he averaged 17 points a game. He's only making $4 million a year.
Because he's still on his rookie deal. I'm pretty sure he was drafted like the second round or
Yeah,
like
he's
late
gonna.
first.
Yeah, it's gonna go up. It's definitely gonna go up. But that's interesting that he's performed. What do you think about Nicholas Claxton, man? I've always been a fan of his.
I like Nick Claxton, but like, you're just gonna bring him off the bench.
I mean, depends if you play Wemby at the four. I mean, like depending on what Wemby's role is on the floor itself, you could always have another big next to him, as long as that big can pop open shot.
Yeah, you need a stretch big for sure.
KCP, but KCP is already making 14 million, and he's probably gonna ask for more.
KCP's old though.
He's old.
Not old, older.
Um, your boy Clay Thompson. What do you say?
My boy. Who's my boy?
Clay Thompson.
Um, for the Spurs.
Man, he averaged 17.9 points a game this last season. I'm
That's what I was
surprised he even
thinking. I
having.
was like,
Yeah.
maybe just because I don't watch the Warriors a lot, they're just not. because I don't live in California. They're not on daily program shows or like anything like that. So like we only see him when he just comes on TNT. But I feel like everyone just holds him to his like prime standards, even though his standards right now isn't horrible. Everyone just holds him to his all-time great standard. When you become a great player, you get compared to your old self, not other players. So I feel like everyone just compares him to his 2015, 2016, 2014 self, which is unfair to
I
him
think
because he went through career-threatening injuries.
there's definitely a team that should take a chance on him. I think it depends on who that team is, but I think there are team out there. There are teams out there who can use him.
I know it's kind of like an NBA joke that like, oh, the Lakers want to sign everyone, but I don't know. That'd be a good fit if he went to the Lakers. I like him to Orlando. I saw that.
Mm,
I was like, that could be interesting. But again, I
interesting.
wouldn't sign Clay to a 30 to $40 million deal.
Mm.
That's just too much right now in his career because he can't play defense. He's gonna be a 40% 3-point shooter. That's all he's gonna be for you.
Mm.
So I don't
Yeah.
know if paying that much for a 3-point shooter
Yeah.
is worth it.
If he doesn't wind up staying with the Warriors, it's going to be really interesting, man, to see where he finishes his career. I still think he has something left, depending on the makeup of the team. Let's hope the Clippers don't decide to pick him up, right? And just
Yeah, just make the retirement home.
a retirement. Oh, that's funny. Um, Isaiah Hardenstein, the New York Knicks big.
I like him.
Um,
He's
I like him
cold.
too, man. I like the way he moves on the floor. He's got a great ability to kind of just set screens and roll to the rim.
He has a good
I
feel for.
really, yeah. You got Valanciunas. I'm okay. I've seen enough of him, so I kind of know I know what we're gonna get or not get. Buddy Hield, I'm surprised. Buddy Hield makes about 20 million a year, man.
Man, Buddy Hield's values dropped a lot.
Hmm.
Dropped a lot. Because I remember a couple of years ago, I was like the biggest like, man, Mavericks. We gotta go get Buddy and Miles Turner. Like that's like right now. Like if we make that deal, like we're contending. And then he gets traded to, excuse me, he gets traded to Philly, and like feels like he never really played till that one game. He had like 20,
Hmm.
which he ended up getting benched in that game for some odd reason anyway. But
Yeah, I didn't get that either. And then right under him, they have Kelly Oubre listed. And you know what's crazy? Oubre's only making $2.8 million this season, man.
we talked about Oubre.
We did a little bit, yeah. And guess who his agent is?
Uh, is he with what's it called?
No, I think this is Tobias Harris's father, man. Yeah, it's Tobias Harris's father.
Wow, that's weird.
Interesting.
That's odd.
Interesting. You got him, you got Tyus Jones, you got Russ, Bruce Brown, Malik Beasley, Sadiq Bey.
I like Sadiq Bey.
I like Sadiq Bey too. Obi, you got Maurice Wagner from the Magic.
But let me ask you a question.
Yes.
I feel like it's very like plain and vanilla to build around a guard. I feel like it's
Mm.
not so easy to, as far as like the structure of what type of players you need around them. What kind of players do you think the Spurs need?
So the Spurs, other than Wemby, even though like Sohan is good defensively, they had a really poorly ranked defense. So if you're gonna get someone, I still think you need to get a two-way guy who can play really stellar perimeter defense, which makes Wemby even better because if these guys are doing their job on the perimeter and then the guy's still getting to Wemby, you can see that he's already been banged and pushed and maybe off balance or something. So I would say getting a two-way player, and they need consistent scoring, right? So Wemby showed that he can score at a high clip. I mean, it's sad because I don't like him, but like you could see, like if like Paul George, right, that would make maybe some sense. A guy who's a two-way that can score and play some defense. Um,
Yeah.
I think this is why people love to talk about bringing Dejounte Murray back because, you know, he can play defense, he can score to some extent. Obviously, I have some issues with the way he scores, and shot selection and all that, but I
Yeah.
think they need a strong, even though they have Vassell and Tyus and all these guys. I think they need a strong wing or perimeter player that can take pressure off Wemby. You can develop some type of two-way game between the two guys, and then you let all these other guys be like your auxiliary players, right? Sohan shouldn't have to be the primary ball handler. Sohan should be out there because he has a job to do, which is defend, get rebounds, be an irritant, maybe knock down some open shots. But this guy shouldn't be bringing up the rock, ultimately, and doing some of the things I don't think he should be doing.
Yeah, I agree. I was like, would you think like them building a structure, because like not exactly like it, but kind of just like just a little bit from Minnesota. And
Okay.
Wemby's your tower. You got that's Gobert. Gobert's Wemby. Obviously not offensively, they're completely different players. And then Vassell's like your wing scorer, Ant's your wing scorer. And you could get like a veteran point guard like Mike Conley on their team. And then you get 3-and-D guys like Sokan's not really three yet. Jay McDaniels is the elite 3-and-D player. And I don't know. I don't feel like there's a need for like a perimeter four. I think instead of getting a cat-like player, you could get like a Trae Young type player.
Mm. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's many. You can make that example. You can make the example of the Nuggets in a sense of having like a dominant type of big who can shoot from the outside, handle the rock, post up. That's what Wemby's becoming. And give him a dominant guard like a Jamal Murray. You see how that 2-man game can work out, and then you just fill them with auxiliary guys, right? 3-and-D guys who can stretch the floor, guys who can knock down the shot. I don't know. I think and Gordon. I'm not saying that Sohan has the same game as Gordon, right? He doesn't, but they're kind of more gritty at this point. They have defensive assignments. They can score when they need to. They can rebound when they need to. They can push the rock when they need to. So maybe the Nuggets are a decent comparison.
Yeah, I like that comparison. That's probably better than my comparison, honestly. Yeah.
Hey man, I'm here for that, brother. No
That's all
problem.
you do what you do.
So only man, because I gotta get going. But let's wrap it up with the Knicks. So the Knicks, amazing. I truly gritty, dogs Warriors type of performance. Undermanned. They lose OG. I think in game one perhaps, or in game two.
Game two, I believe.
Game two, and they still win that game. No, I think they lost him in game one, man, because they won a game without him, from what I
Are you sure?
remember.
Because I know he got hurt at home, and it was in the third quarter. I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong.
Game two.
Sorry, I think you're right. I think Brunson was the one that got hurt in game two. And he missed like the whole second quarter or third quarter.
Yeah, I'm sure he was gone in game two. Um, and they did a great job, man. They showed heart. These starters played so many minutes, and then game three finally Thibodeau unleashed the bench a little bit. The guys did much better than expected, but they lost a really close game in the last couple minutes of game three. I thought there were some ticky tacky or calls that were not made. There was a goaltending that didn't get called in the Knicks' favor, which was like a bang bang type of play. There was one where Hurdestein was being held like hooked. His arms were hooked under him, so he couldn't get the rebound. So I felt like there were a couple plays that went against them in the crunch time in the last couple of minutes that would have really helped them. And if they went up 3-0, man, it's always hard to come back from that 3-0 deficit. But now you see they've lost two in a row, and the momentum is definitely shifting a little bit.
I don't know. I'm. You can throw in your opinion on this. I'm not a Tibbs. I feel like shot himself in the foot this whole year with him sticking to his philosophy of I'm gonna run my players into the ground, which sounds cute and nice until they get hurt and you got to throw in some guys you haven't played the whole year. You don't know what they're about. You know what they can bring. So as soon as OG went down, now you're playing with an unknown. Instead of throwing some of these guys in the games that you don't really needed Josh Hart to play freaking the whole game or DiVincenzo to play the whole game, you could have thrown in any of the bench players, any of them. They're still NBA players. Not every NBA player is as good as Josh Hart, but I'm saying they're still NBA players, still pros. You still pay them millions of dollars to make a basketball. So I don't know. Is Bogdanovich hurt? Because I know
Yeah,
he's on the team, but he doesn't play.
shoulder.
He's hurt, right? Okay.
He's not coming back. So you got
Okay.
Bogdanovich, who would have been great. You got Randall, who's out. You got OG, who's out. You got definitely homeboy. What's his name? Our boy, man, the point guard.
Brunson?
Brunson's definitely banged up, like Luca's banged up. So these guys are not healthy, but they're that's why I'm saying the Celtics have the easiest path to the finals, right? They're gonna play two teams that don't have the talent on paper that they have, and from that perspective, it's a little disappointing. But I would love to see the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, man.
Something tells me I heard someone say it on like one of like the I think it was like First Take or something. I think it was Draymond. Sorry, excuse me. It was Draymond, and everyone killed him for it. I 1,000% agreed. He
Tell
said
me.
the Knicks this year, they're like that Portland team that went to the conference finals. They thought they were one step away. They got swept by the Warriors. Like, oh, we're right there. When you just get this guy back, get this guy back. But no, that was a fluke season. You're not that good. You're really gonna struggle now because you paid all these guys all this money that they're not worth all that money. And then he gave like two other teams that basically identical situations. But I don't know. I think they either need to get depth because Tibbs refuses to play any unknown players, or you just stick with Tibbs' philosophy and lower your depth even more and get a superstar player. Trade trade Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle for someone for all star, whoever.
I could definitely see that. I definitely see Draymond's point. To be honest, that's why I'm saying they're more of like a excuse me like an all grit
Yeah,
dog heart
they're
team.
like a college team.
These are not the teams that win the NBA Finals, right, or make it to the NBA Finals. So from that perspective, I agree. Now, what they're ultimately going to do, I think they have a killer in Brunson. I think don't regret at all what you did with Brunson. I think you have fantastic role players on the team, Hart and Hardestein and all these guys who can give you valuable minutes, 3 and D, grab some rebounds, give you some assists. But ultimately, yes, they need a couple of other pieces, and I think that's what they were hoping with Randall, right? But as we mentioned before with Randall, the ball stops a lot with him as well. Like he typically when he gets the ball, he's looking to
Yeah.
score. So either that could be a really good thing or it could be a really bad thing. So I'm really interested to see what they do with Randall in the offseason, if they're gonna try to trade him
Oh, he's
and get
gone
some.
for sure.
You think so, right?
Oh, 1,000%.
Hmm.
1,000%.
Hmm.
For what? For who? I don't know.
Hmm.
But I'm willing to bet a lot of something that he's gone. We don't bet money, guys.
We don't do that betting stuff, guys. Yeah, that's right. Too valuable of a commodity just to throw away.
Yes, sir.
Um, Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think nonetheless, man, I'm still excited. I'm happy with the playoffs. I'm happy with what the Mavs have showed me. Like, I really want them to make it to the Western Conference
Yeah, it's
Finals,
been a blast.
you know. But if they make it against the Nuggets, man, I don't know, bro. You know,
That's gonna be hard. That's gonna be very hard.
because you see now you got quote unquote the defensive player of the year, um, and you got Cat. Yeah, I know. And they're struggling now to contain Jokic. And I love the bigs on the Mavs, right? They're athletic, they're strong, they run fast. But Jokic eats guys like that up, man.
Yeah.
He likes to go against those athletes.
Honestly, I think the Mavericks would actually match better with the Nuggets.
You think so?
Even though you bring a great point, he's killing the quote unquote defensive player of the year. What is he gonna do to Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively? And then I'm also gonna go back to what I heard Draymond say yesterday on TNT. Like when he was talking about Luca, he said Luca's gonna get what he gets. You just gotta worry about stopping everyone else. Jokic
Mm,
is gonna get what he gets. You just gotta make sure Aaron Gordon doesn't have an 11 for 12 game, or Jamal Murray doesn't have a 30 piece,
mm,
and Michael Porter doesn't make 12 threes. That's what you gotta worry about. Then you have a chance. Then it's ball game.
mm.
But if you cater your whole, I mean, obviously you still gotta cater some of your defense to him. But if you cater all your focus on Jokic, and he's still gonna put up a 30-point triple double, then you have no chance.
Mm. I agree with that. I think that's a approach that many coaches have used in the past. I've heard it often, like where like you're like let that guy get what he's gonna get.
Yeah, just don't let no
Uh,
one ride.
Yeah, and that's what the Spurs used to do against the Suns. Like they would say, turn Steve Nash into a scorer and let him get what he's gonna get, right? And
Yeah,
that's kind of what the Spurs would do against the Suns. Is like, all right, let Nash shoot. He's gonna get 30. He's gonna score. He's gonna get in the lane, but we're gonna stop everyone else. That was kind of their philosophy. So no, it makes sense to me, man. But we got two good games today. You got the Knicks game, and then you got the Timberwolves game. Yeah, the Timberwolves game.
Yeah.
So today, man, someone's gonna take a 3-2 lead. It's gonna be important, right? It's gonna be interesting to see which of the teams take that lead. So I'm excited.
It's gonna be fun.
All right, brother. Great episode. I gotta get going, and we'll catch up soon.
All right.
Take care.
Inshallah.
Take care, brother.